Okay, so our first architectural condition that we'll be talking about is cross bracing. So 875 North Michigan Avenue, also known as the John Hancock Center, or more affectionately named Big John, was designed by Bruce Graham from Skidmore, Owings and Merrill in 1969. It stands at 1,127 feet and was the world's first mixed-use high-rise containing offices, restaurants, and the third highest residence in the world, with approximately 700 condominiums. The structure's mid-century modern design has a unique tapered rectangular shape with large external trusses visible on all four sides of the building. This cross bracing on the exterior provides security against horizontal movement while opening up the interior of the building with more uninterrupted floor space. Although the X bracing is massive, it can block views from the interior. It is the Hancock building's signature exterior feature and is structurally sound. Originally engineered by Fazlur Khan under the title Trussed Tube System, these trusses were groundbreaking in that they helped to make skyscrapers taller than 100 stories, which had never been done before. It also allowed skyscrapers to break their traditional rectilinear shapes. Typically constructed from steel rods, angles, or tubes, cross bracing includes diagonal members in a vertical plane placed in the shape of an X. Cross bracing is typically located in line with building columns and may be concealed within non-structural wall systems. This condition also allows the John Hancock Center to resist heavy wind loads and have increased floor space as it reduces the need for interior columns. It also limits the building's lateral movement, reducing the likelihood of damage to the structure's components and cladding. In some cases, cross bracing has even been used as an effective way to counter seismic activity from earthquakes. The practical use of these braces are difficult to argue, but what about the aesthetics of a feature like this? With the necessary size of these braces, they are hard to ignore. However, these braces add a level of complexity to the building's external walls that breaks the boring and traditional look of a flat surface from top to bottom. On top of this, the diagonal movement of these braces pops against the verticality of the skyscraper, which takes the viewer's eyes from side to side as they look towards the top, as opposed to straight up, giving the facade a more dynamic appearance than your average skyscraper. In addition, the cross bracing makes the building appear more uniform and sleek. This frame tapers with the general shape of the building to accommodate the different types of spaces, such as condos, offices, and restaurants, and their varying sizes, going from largest to smallest. However, cross bracing can make renovating a building more difficult. It can get in the way if a door or window needs to be added to a wall where cross bracing is present, or if a desired building expansion conflicts with the cross bracing. Oftentimes, the result of a design conflict like this is that the cross bracing gets removed to make room for other architectural conditions, which then puts the building's structural integrity in jeopardy. A similar risk exists if there is damaged cross bracing in a building. This video shows a very good visual demonstration about how X bracing can reinforce a structure.
Now moving on to Frank Lloyd Wright's Roby House, built in 1910. The architectonic idea we will be discussing for this structure is the pointed windows in the Roby House. The house contains two sets of these windows. One is located on the east and the other is on the west end of the structure. Frank Lloyd Wright is well known for his perpendicular horizontal lines, which are represented in the Roby House, as in many other examples of his work. The only element that does not follow this perpendicular pattern in the Roby House are these windows. This makes the diagonally placed parts of the building that extend past the boxy structure deliberate, and Frank Lloyd Wright wanted to emphasize these points. Because of the ship-like resemblance, the locals called the house Der Dampfer, meaning the steamship. In the beginning of the 20th century, these large steamships were an example of the advancements of what the Western world was achieving at the time. And by trying to find a sense of American style of architecture, Frank Lloyd Wright could have been using these ship elements in his work. And because of the windows pointed front, you can easily see that they can be compared to the bow of a ship. As you approach the Roby House, it feels almost as if you're walking into something more important or grand, like a steamship would be at the time, getting ready to travel across the Atlantic. The interior space made by these windows are unique as well. The main living space of the house is lifted up from street view and tucked behind a large cantilevered roof. The pointed windows allow someone standing inside to get closer to the street and have 180-degree views of the area outside. These pointed windows can be easily compared to the more popular bay windows. While they achieve the same thing by allowing a better view from a point inside the building, bay windows are made to interrupt the exterior shape of the building as little as possible, but still provide these views. While Wright's pointed windows were purposely made to interject the wall and create a point at which the windows end. Instead of trying to change it. In conclusion, the pointed windows in the Roby House create a sense of importance and status when looking at the exterior or interior of the building. Frank Lloyd Wright purposely did this, possibly depending on the time period or the functionality that these windows create. But as you can see, he continued using this as his career progressed when he built the Coolney House in 1912.